Okay, first thing, let's talk about Dave. That's where our players are more concerned about that than anything right now. And initial reports from our trainer John Irwin, that initial reports are positive, so they're doing a lot of checking on him right now to see exactly what happened. He took a hard fall, a very hard fall, obviously, and y'all know he's as tough as they get. So we're just kind of wait and see on that with Dave. Then with Coach, Coach was home resting tonight. We've been really day to day, hour to hour with his team and where everything is. But he's day to day. I think about when he gets rested back up and get some food in him. That he was really sick at South Carolina last week, almost to the point where he maybe shouldn't even traveled, but he was kind of carried over, so they've run a bunch of tests on. But he's been good. He's good, and we think he'll be back pretty soon. Don't know for sure on the timing of it. We're just getting informed day to day from a medical standpoint. The game, obviously a tale of two halves. We played so well defensively in the first half. We just, Rice is one of the leading scoring teams in the country, one of the most efficient teams from a field goal percentage standpoint. Obviously they shoot the three well. And our guys, to their credit, man, they were really locked in defensively on the game plan, and you couldn't do a better job than what our guys did that first half to hold them to 22% overall, and I think 26% on threes. But they're a really good offensive team, as we all saw in the second half. And I think it kind of how well we played in the first half may have wore us down a little bit. We didn't have that same zip defensively, and give them credit. They made shots. They were tremendous second half. They were 9 for 15 on threes, and they made them from I think 4 different guys. So it wasn't just one guy hitting them all, but they were good. They're a really good team, and tough loss, man. It's heart just pull your heart out there to come back and take that lead, and then not finish the game.
Questions?
With Davion, do you know if that was a head or neck? What was it?
Well, they're checking out both. They're checking out the head and the neck. I'm sure they'll do some extensive, whatever they do in terms of scans and X-rays, but they'll check him out. And, you saw his mom and his grandfather were down there on the court, so you can imagine, what it's like for them right now, any type of injury. And then, when I think the stretcher was probably more precautionary than anything. We'll know after the fact. But again, our guys, Dave's, he's the guy in that locker room. Those guys love him, and they're concerned about him, and we all are, and we'll just have to wait and see what they say.
Coach, pretty impressive how the crowd got into it after Dave. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, the crowd was tremendous. It was kind of the first half was a kind of a defensive battle. We were really good defensively, and we thought at halftime, we kind of, as coaches, when we came in the locker room, we thought we left some points on the board in the first half. We were up 10 and felt like, hey, we could have been up 14, 16. Not that they wouldn't have come back, but it'd have been a difference. Maybe the difference in how they responded. Second half, when they came out and played, man. They took us out of it and took the crowd out of it, and they were really good. And then we made probably 2 good runs. We made one before Dave got hurt and got back in the game, and the crowd was a big part of that. But then when Dave went out, the crowd really affected the game. You could tell, and this is we told our players before the game, we said, your fans, because they released coaches news, they released it about 45 minutes before the game. We said, so these fans, man, they're a passionate fan base, and hey, they get on us all when we lose. That's part of it, but they love you, and they're gonna be worried about you. You lost 2 games in a row, and coach is out, and they're gonna be worried about you. So you got to make sure that you play with energy and excitement, and enthusiasm, and toughness and competitiveness, and we did that. We did it, and then. But they played a huge role in us getting back in that game. And when we took the lead, man, we were in position to win it. And they beat us on a back cut and called it, drew a foul right there. To be a physical. I'll put it like this: Dave no call on Dave's foul that sent him to the hospital, and then they call that foul, on the back cut. Was a little. I hadn't seen it on video yet, but that's a head scratcher there. And then they made 17 of 18 free throws. That's probably a difference in the game.
Coach, real quick about Davion, do you know if he was able to move all his extremities off of the initial report?
At the initial reports out of the hospital that he is moving. So I'm just hearing the trainers and the doctors talking a little bit, and I do remember this saying, hey, the stretcher and taking him to the hospital and everything was precautionary, because any time with a head and neck injury, it's just automatic, you do it. And so obviously we don't know any more than that. But the thing about Dave is, he'll want to. You'd have to strap him, to his locker to keep him from playing. If he's able to play, he'll play moving forward. But he's just, I'm really surprised that hadn't happened before. He plays so hard and so physical, and he's up there around the rim, and he got knocked to the floor. And one of the referees, one of the officials came into kind of the scrum there and said, hey, what he was telling the trainer, said, hey, Jarius on the fall, maybe Jarius hit him after he fell, and that's what caused, maybe that was the genesis of what happened there, to lead to what putting him on a stretcher.
Phil, is the problem with Rice the number of guys who could hit threes? You couldn't focus on one or even two guys.
Well, our plan was to focus, to make sure Evie and Olivari, who are playing they're both playing at all league level. I mean, Olivari right now is as good as any wing in this league, and his numbers prove it. And you saw it tonight. And Evie, we did a great job on Evie tonight. He didn't, I think he was. He made some plays. I may be wrong on that, but he goes 6 for 13. He's still got 24. Olivari? I'm sorry, Olivari's the guy we did a number on. Held him to 3 for 15. Evie wasn't that, but our main focus was to keep those guys from beating us, because they're the two guys. The other two, the starting, we call it the other guys off the ball. They can shoot and they can play. They're good players, but they'd only, coming into the game, they'd only made 13 apiece. They can shoot. They both had good numbers percentage-wise, but Olivari and Evie had been the one making the shots. So our focus was on those two, and those guys got loose in the second half and made some. Those other guys made some, and we had a stretch too, man, where we fouled twice. We fouled 2 3-point shooters. And then we got the flop call at the end, because we'd say, because I think they probably questioned the second call, and then when they went to the line. But we gave up 6 points on fouling 3-point shooters, or a 4-point play on the one play.
But you got a nice effort out of Jamar today too, especially in the second half. He just seemed to really play with some intensity.
Well, we challenged him yesterday. I mean, y'all watch this play, so I mean. The one thing we challenged him to do is hey, we need hungry Jamarion. That's what we need. We don't have to play perfect tomorrow. Nobody can play perfect, but we need to get that hunger back, because this time last year he had a different level of hunger about him, because nobody knew about him, and he played with that hunger night in, night out. And I don't know about you all, but we asked his teammates, anybody seen that? And no, not like last year. And we challenged him to come out. And give him credit. He was hungry tonight. He played with a different level of hunger. He made a difference in the game. His effort, he didn't stuff a stat sheet, but he was balanced on that stat sheet. He was demanding the ball inside. I don't think he's ever done that. He was demanding the ball inside. He was efficient. He was defensively. He was tremendous. We asked him to do a lot defensively tonight, so he was a real player tonight, and that's what we needed from him. And again, it's just a shame we didn't close the game out. Obviously you learn, but you want to learn from a win.
A short turnaround at MTSU. First off, are you expecting to be the head coach in that one? Second, this is a team that really rolled past Rice earlier this year. How do you get ready for that?
Well, your first question with Coach is kind of day to day. Don't know. We'll know more. Obviously, much more tomorrow. We play at 3 o'clock Saturday. So we'll see on that, and we'll be prepared. We'll be prepared. It's when you play a Thursday Saturday league, you don't have as much time to prepare. And but Middle, as you all know, I mean, they're really athletic. They've had a really good season so far. I think they lost tonight, but it's a quick turnaround. And from our standpoint, it'll be like, who's available? Is Dave available? Do we have to make some adjustments if he's not? And our bench will have to play more in that game, because we got some guys who are gassed after tonight. We've got good depth, and you can make an argument, maybe play them a little more tonight. We had some guys get tired, but the first thing is, will Dave be available?
Speaking of the bench, we haven't talked to you guys in a while, but Dante Allen being back, what was that process like getting back? Was it just the 7 games, not being played, or was there something else that we didn't know?
No, it's just, I mean, he's been out of the rotation, and we told our guys coming off the bench today, man, this is such a hard team to coach in terms of rotations and who plays and how much they play, because you got a bunch of guys who can play. Obviously, Dante can play. He was, I think he was 1 for 4 tonight. He hit that last one right there. But then, when we lost that lead, and it's, y'all know coaches do this sometimes. We lost that lead. He was 1 for 3 tonight. When we lost that lead, we kind of stuck with those older guys who had played and who were really good in that first half defensively. Because Rice is so hard to guard. They spread you out, and they're really hard to guard. And we probably went with some older guys, more experienced guys defensively more than anything. But Dante's fine. Made that last shot. His role will increase game to game. You can be assured of that.
Did the referee give you an explanation for the non-basket interference call or towards the end?
At the end of the game, well, my question was, because those rules have changed recently. My question was, is that reviewable? And Brett, one of the officials, said it has to be, they have to call it goaltending first. They have to call it goaltending before they can review it. You're talking about on Fiedler's tip in with about two and a half minutes ago, maybe. Yeah, I question that. I mean, again, we'll see it on the video, but he's 6'11", he's right up there around the rim, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see that on the video.
Anything else for Coach? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, guys.